The Hash It Out Show is brought to you by Barreto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hot Works on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Lil Dizzy's Cafe, The Green Law Firm, personal injury attorney, Kaylin Parker of Magnolia Wealth Strategies, Moe's Pizza, Lance's AC and Heating, CC's Children Blocks, The Pierre Family in Lafayette, Louisiana, Drums Earwear.
Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move, 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 move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB, the Sports Guy. We are back with another edition of Legends Month here on the Hash It Out Show. And we got the one and only Keytaon Thompson, former quarterback of the 2016 Class 5A state champions, the Landry Walker Charging Buccaneers. He's going to join us at 7:30. I got the one and only VK Jones right there. VK Jones, what's up, man? Floor is yours, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You're a funny guy. You're a real funny guy, man. Like, tag, share, subscribe to the Hash It Out Show, all social media platforms, and we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere, and continue to support us and continue to do you got to do to support us. Like what we like what we do, and at the same time, we appreciate everybody continue to support our show every week as we come out with some great shows, great interactions yesterday with our tribute to the 1992 Hahnville Tigers football team. First of all, before we go forward, I wanted to. Yesterday's show was unbelievable with the great interactions, but I really kind of stepped over the line on some things and everything. I had to do some reflection and everything else, and I had to hold myself accountable for what I have done. So, on behalf of myself, I would like to apologize to all the Hash It Out Show fans, also to the Hahnville community, the football team, the 1992 team, including Lionel Irons and Clifton White. So I definitely apologize, and all the Hahnville alumni. I apologize for my actions yesterday. I'm a person that's hold myself accountable to a lot of things, and over the years, I had to really put away my biases to anything to be successful, to be a better person, especially as a journalist. And I don't want that to be questioned after the hard work I have put in over the years. So my apologies to the Hahnville community, the football team and alumni, also our Hash It Out Show fans, including our number one fan, that is your mom, Jared. So, I definitely apologize for what I've done, and please forgive me for that. And I know we're going to be probably making a visit to Hahnville soon. If you see me, everything you've been saying to JB, I deserve that. But please forgive me for what I've done. There's no more disrespect, man. We love what we do, and I love what I do, and I like to tell the stories of the great programs and communities all over the state. We're about the state of Louisiana sports here on the Hash It Out Show. So please accept my apologies. Thank you.
They accepted your apology, man. You're forgiven, I promise you. We got the one and only GP tonight. What's up, George Peppers?
What's happening? Yeah, boy, VK, if you'd have heard what I told JB before the show
Hey,
in
Peppers,
reference to Harville,
Danny B says, hey, Pep. Danny
was
B on Instagram. She says, hey, Pep.
oh, that's a friend of mine, coworker. She's her son plays for St. Augustine, and she's wanting to know if we're gonna take a make St. Augustine one of our games. So, look, Danny B, she's a sweetheart. We'll let you know. We're getting close to announcing two of them. I
Danny,
see two fingers.
yeah, I'm giving you a clue, Danny.
It's called Deuces Loose. Anyway, so what happened last night happened last night. Okay. Now, it would take the one and only BK Jones to upset one of the most passionate sports bases, prep sports bases in the state of Louisiana. Let's call it what it is. We have seen Harville many a times in big stages. And what have we seen? Their love, their passion, their deep rooted love for their team. VK, look, what happened happened. At least you showed a little bit of contrition. That's a good thing. But I tell you what, when we make the trip to Harnville, I'm bringing two hazmat suits, one for me and one for Jared. Because if they throwing stuff, we gonna make sure you get hit. Because I am not taking any abuse because of that. 'Cause they might forgive you, but they ain't forgetting. Let's call that what it is, bro. I mean, and I'm just kidding with you when I say that, but there's something else that I will not repeat on the show. JB knows what I'm talking about. I'll mention it to you off the air. And I'm not going to even clue you in on what it is. It's about Hartville, but it's not. Don't even try to guess. But at
Oh,
least you
my
show
goodness.
contrition. At least you show contrition. That's a good thing. And to the Hartville fans, listen, we know how deep, how passionate you guys are, and about our show and about what we do. And we're gonna bring it to you all year long. We're coming full board. I used this phrase last week: all gas, no brakes. The Jacob Fatu line. That's the theme for the Hash It Out Show Game of the Week this year: all gas, no brakes. Just make sure when VK takes his road trips this year with us, he don't park at certain places that have benches. I'm just saying,
He probably thinking of some ideas.
he is.
I'm
He's
gonna get
plotting. I can see it. I'm gonna get them two. I'm gonna get them two clowns. They playing me
he
for the
said,
last time. Especially if we
oh,
when come week 4, he'll be 9 games behind in the picks.
yes,
And
indeed.
and then what happened?
Uh,
No, I look. We kid. I want to be serious for a second. We kid because we care. If y'all see the three of us out and about when we're not doing the public setting, hang around us. Tell you what, those discussions are live. Boy, are they lively. But Stadium, need I recall that? When
oh,
Dion left
not never forget that
Jackson
one.
State to Colorado.
Yeah,
Remember that one? That was
yeah.
fun. But I'm
I
just
remember
saying,
that.
no, to our fans, listen, y'all come hang out with us. Y'all come talk to us. If we're out, like, this weekend would be, if, and look, let's be serious about something
We
else.
ain't going
Y'all
nowhere this
know,
weekend.
I know because of that tropical, whatever that thing is coming.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what it's going to wind up being, but, and there's no activation on our end, on my end for work. So
Well,
anything category 3 or higher, I'd probably be stuck. But no, uh, what happened? What if you people want to get out? Please be careful. Don't do nothing crazy. We're looking at what 5 to 8 inches of rain. I think this weekend, 10 inches, something like
Yeah.
that.
we'll
Why would you
see.
want to go out there in that stupidness? Stay in your
We'll see,
house.
buddy. We'll see. We'll see. But let's
That
move
we
on. Let's
will.
move on. So, Keytaon Thompson, everybody, was
Hmm.
the quarterback for Landry Walker. Landry Walker.
Hmm.
He was the Gatorade Football Player of the Year in 2016. He passed for over 3,800 yards. He had 46 touchdowns and also rushed for over 1,400 rushing yards. So think about it. He passed for 46 touchdowns and rushed for 26. For his career at Landry Walker, he had 10,737 yards of total offense and 149 total touchdowns. This guy was an absolute machine, if you can say. Absolute machine, man. And you saw Keytaon play. And I ain't gonna lie, I didn't see much of Keytaon that year. But I saw enough in that state championship game against West
West
Monroe.
Monroe.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I knew Keytaon in. Just seeing that game, I said, yo, this dude is the real deal. We may see this dude playing on Sundays. That's how good this guy was, man. He lit up West Monroe, and they won that game 50-21. 50-21. And GP, I'll let you go first quickly because we got 10 minutes till he comes on. But
I see.
your thoughts about Keytaon Thompson when he played at Landry Walker?
There's another conversation you and I had off the air that I won't repeat on the air, but Keytaon Thompson was that dude. I remember I was living in the Royals Parish at the time, and when that state title came up, Sedlaw, West Monroe plays in the Sedlaw district mostly. Well, now back then they were playing in the Sedlaw district, with Alexandria still playing with them,
Yeah,
and whatnot. Other teams that involved Bolton and whatever. But Keytaon Thompson was that dude. And it didn't take the state championship for me to say, yeah, that's that guy. It did not take scoring a half 100 on West Monroe, right?
right.
It didn't take that game to make that conviction. I thought he was that dude. And look, even though I lived far away from here, 3.5 hours, um, you still it's our responsibility to follow around the state, and I always kept tabs. And I remember keeping in touch with my brother, talking about Keytaon Thompson. And he's like, man, that dude is special. You need to come see him. And I never, sadly, I never had the chance. I mean, I watched the Cox, the video, the Cox games, when they would do like the tape delay state championships.
Right.
How they would broadcast it and then on Christmas you get to watch it.
Watch them
I
all.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you can watch them all, and it's a I don't know, quintuple header, I think is what they called it, because they played all 5 of those games back to back to back to back. But VK, West Monroe is a storied program, and what Landry Walker did that night, but there's something more memorable than that. The game wasn't memorable and unless you're Landry Walker, but what happened in between Carr winning their game and Landry Walker coming out, that was the best moment far and away of that weekend. I mean, that was a brotherhood personified, and the car showing Landry Walker, go get it. We got ours, go get yours. And you filmed it. I remember watching it, and I choked up. I chilled. I had chills watching that. That was awesome to see. And with that, BK, the floor is yours, bro.
Seeing Keytaon in person myself, covering him for those 4 years, probably one of the best athletes I ever covered. I mean, from the football field to the basketball court. People forgetting. You can't forget. On the basketball court, he averaged almost a double-double when he played basketball for Landry Walker and led them to back-to-back state championships. So he's a great all-around athlete, and off the field, great person. And he took his schoolwork very seriously. And what's the amazing part? He had a 4.0 average at Landry Walker, doing all what he's doing. Great all around himself. He had to transition from freshman to sophomore year with a 2 quarterback system. And once he took charge, it was amazing to see. We knew that the potential was there. But when he became the man, and I mean, goodness gracious, he was just unbelievable to see. The ball games were unreal in itself. The 2016 championship, and that was probably one of the greatest nights in my journalistic career. I always pick at least 2 or 3 moments, and that is one of them. I mean, I never forget that time. I mean, I called out the city of Algiers. What you gonna do? I called it out on my old radio show. What you gonna do? Monroe bringing their people. Shut down Algiers. Show these people that you belong. And they did it. They shut the entire Algiers down. And they came out. And we seen the colors of purple and gold, the Landry Walker colors combined. We see the old Prairie Walker colors, and we see the LB Landry colors. a whole family, and they was like, "This is our night. This is our night. This is Algiers coming out," and that was an unbelievable night in itself to see. But for Keytaon to make history the way he did, and he's the best player in the history, to me, really the best player in the history of Algiers, period, of
Ooh,
what he's done.
Mm.
oh,
Of what he's done. You have to think. Three state championships, two on a back to back. One of them, he made the game winner in the state championship game. And then making history, bringing home the first state championship outside of Edna Carr and Algiers since the 60s. Old Perry Walker was close before going to the Superdome against Old Perry Walker. Came up short. Landry hasn't been in the title game since the 70s. So that's history in itself for him to break that mold for that area. Because championships, well, they always talk about in the car, but at that time, Old Perry Walker and Landry did what they can to try to be the school besides in the car to be a successful program, and it's always been successful. But for them to finally get state gold, he's the best that we probably ever seen in that Algiers area.
I'll tell you what, man. You saw him more than I did on both sports, in both sports. And I'm not going to knock you for saying he is the best ever to come out of Algiers. I'm not. And there's been a whole lot to come out of Algiers.
Yes,
Whole lot.
it's been a whole lot. It's bold for me to say that, and this is not prisoner of the moment.
Well,
I
it's
didn't
bold
wa-
for you to say that, but when you say two championships in basketball and also one in football, yeah, it's pretty good statement, VK.
Absolutely. It's just facts with it. And there's been some great athletes that came from there. I can name it. Even our friend was a great athlete. Courtney Hogan. He was an unbelievable athlete
Yeah,
and one of the greats. You name him, you name people like Lester Bull McCaleb
yeah.
and and also those boys, the members of that state finalist team of Old Perry Walker under Brian Gibson, and you know Herb Tyler and Chris Williams and John Johnson. There've been some great ones that has came from that community, from Landry and from Old Perry Walker. Great athletes. We can't forget the great, rest in peace, Tyrone Duplessis.
That's right.
We can't forget him.
That's right.
So there have been some awesome players, and we don't even want to talk about the defensive players that they came from. They didn't have some monsters from those two schools itself that were really unbelievable defensively. So man, but looking at what he's done and the work, you cannot ignore the work. We had Random Mackey last week, like we talked about. The resumes.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing, is the resume. Clifton White last night.
Yeah.
The resume.
Resume speaks for itself.
It speaks for itself. You,
Mm-hmm.
you can't you can't you can't deny it. And I hope a lot of the Algiers folks are watching tonight. I'm just putting facts out, man. I'm not knocking nobody, not doing rage baiting.
You not. You good. You good, man. You good
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
oh yeah. But I'm just saying, because of the fact I have great respect for the people in the past in Algiers that came through and tried. Like I said, it's like a second home. My grandmother come from Algiers, so that's just what it is.
GP. Where you at,
Uh-oh.
George Peppers?
right here.
All
Look,
right.
I
Yeah.
mean, we talk about Algiers, and that's New Orleans, Orleans Parish, right? And Keytaon being the best player coming out of there. Look, God rest his soul, Tyrone Duplessis was equal. If we're going to branch out for New Orleans, Marshall Falk doesn't get on that list, VK.
Well, he's saying just Algiers in general.
Just
Algiers in
Algiers, but
general.
Algiers in general.
Algiers is considered Orleans,
Yeah, but he's
right?
just
Oh, well,
saying,
no,
yeah,
no.
but he's just
But we're
saying
talking
just
about the
Algiers.
Algiers area.
Just Algiers.
Okay.
Just Algiers period. That we
Yeah.
that
And
Marshall
see,
Falk.
and in the comments,
That's across the water.
that's across river. I know.
That's Ninth Ward,
Um,
George Washington Carver. That's another
I'm
section.
I'm looking at the comment from Ronald Hunt mentioning about the Walker team. That was the Swinging Gate championship game when they lost to John Curtis. We were in the dome that day, BK, you and I, and that was just foul what happened that night. And because I thought Walker was the better team that night, and Curtis pulled a playground play to steal that championship. It was a playground play that you see at every playground rec, Caulk, Pard, all those playgrounds. You see that play run.
But here's the thing about that play.
Make it quick. Gotta go to commercial.
It's a known play. A lot
It
of
is.
teams in the country run that. It's a swinging gate, and that's what it is. I give Curtis credit. They just did not panic.
All right.
That's the biggest thing.
We're going to commercial break. And when we come back, we will be joined by the one and only Keytaon Thompson right here on the Hash It Out Show.
Are you in need of a new windshield? Leo Autoglass can help. For 20 years, Leo Autoglass have been servicing the New Orleans area with windshield replacement and auto glass repair. Give them a call today, 504-301-8353.
Hey y'all, this is Jen Hale from Fox Sports. You're watching the Hash It Out Show with JB the Sports Guy, VK Jones, and George Pepis.
Did you experience storm damage from Hurricane Francine? Barretto Home Solutions can help. You can give them a call at 504-940-7552.
Green Law Firm is a full-service law firm specializing in personal injury, criminal law, successions, and family law. With over 25 years of experience, the Green Law Firm continues to provide efficient, competitive, and effective representation to clients throughout the state of Louisiana and all across the nation. Consultations are free. If you're looking for results, call the Green Law Firm at 504-328-3990. That's 504-328-3990, located at 931 Westwood Drive, Suite B in Marrero, Louisiana. The Green Law Firm.
Hi, I'm Erica Randolph, head coach of the Hornville Tigers boys basketball team, and you are watching the Hash It Out Show.
And welcome back to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB the Sports Guy. I got VK Jones and George Pepis joining me right now. Our special guest for the night. This guy led the Landry Walker Charging Buccaneers to the Class 5A state championship. He was the MVP of that game. He was the Louisiana Gatorade Player of the Year that year in 2016. He went on to play college ball at Mississippi State and then transferred to Virginia. One of the best to ever do it in Louisiana, the one and only Keytaon Thompson. What's going on, Keytaon? Thanks for joining us.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
We thank you for joining us, brother. We thank you for joining us. Let's get into it. What was the reason that you wanted to play football?
The reason I wanted to play football, man, I have an older brother, and he kind of, the first one who I used to go to his games, watch him play. And yeah, man, that's kind of the real first, thing that got me started. And then, I just always wanted to be better than him, growing up. And so yeah, that's kind of probably the main thing I would say got me started in it.
Okay. Would your brother be one of the biggest inspirations in your life?
Yeah, I would say that. Just off the simple fact that, football has played such a huge role in my life. And like I said in the beginning, in Pee Wee ball, I just wanted to be better than him. That's all I really wanted. From there, it just kind of grew and grew. So yeah, man, I would definitely say he's a big inspiration.
Definitely. Let's get to the high school career. We're going straight to your senior year. You guys started off 0-2, a loss to John Curtis, 35-22, and then a loss to your arch rivals, the Edna Carr Cougars, 42-34. After those two losses, what was talked about in the locker room amongst you and your teammates and your coaches?
Oh, man. What I can remember is I know we was 0-2, and we had St. Aug week 3. So it wasn't getting no easier, you know what I mean? And it was just like it was almost like a must win, and then the thing about it, I think St. Aug was 0-2 too, and they was a pretty good team. So by us both being 0-2 heading into week 3, and it's like, man, it's gonna be a good game, and we got to come out. And it wasn't so much that was said that week. I feel like it was just more of, we knew it, that, we felt that we were good, but then starting the season out 0-2, it's like whatever you thought you was doing is not enough. And, as far as like guys, just, each individual person, really locking in, really taking their job, with everything they had. And I think that was kind of the main difference. And then, kind of once we played St. Aug, it just got that first win and it took off from there.
You ain't lying. Did it take off? Listen to this, everybody. St. Augustine, 42-20. They won. They played Chalmette, 40-10. Bonneville, 59-0. John Ehret, 46-18. Higgins, 47-27. East Jeff, 41-14. West Jeff, 54-28. Fountain Blue in the first round of playoffs, 55-23. Sulphur, 50-28. Parkway, 61-21. Now, I stopped there because the semifinal game was at Destrehan.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this like yesterday. A lot of people were talking that Destrehan was going to go to the Dome and probably play West Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us the mindset of going to that stadium and getting that victory 50-14.
Yeah, man, at that point, going to Destrehan, we had all confidence in that we was gonna win it all. We was rolling. Like I said, it was no doubt in our minds that we was gonna win. It was just, showing up to the game and putting on the show at that point. The week before, like you mentioned, we was playing Parkway and traveled, I want to say 5-6 hours away, to up there to Parkway, and we played. It was a packed house, cool night, and they jumped out on us 14-0, if I'm not mistaken. And even then, being down 14-0, 6 hours away against, they had, I want to say they had Terrence Marshall. They had a pretty good quarterback. I think he went to TCU or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, they hopped out on us pretty fast, and they had a high-powered offense. And even at that point, being down 14-0 in the first quarter, it was like, it was almost no doubt in my mind that we was going to come back and win the game. It was almost like just being down 14 to make the story even better, And then the game ended up being, like you say, 61, I think, 20, whatever. But so, yeah, we had no doubt, man. And then going into Destrehan, it was the 4th round. I remember Jordan Jefferson's Destrehan team. Actually, my older brother played for L.W. Higgins. And around that time when Destrehan had that streak going on,
mm-hmm.
Higgins, I think, played Destrehan in the playoffs and was winning. And I remember George Jefferson threw like a deep pass at like 3rd or 4th and long or something. They caught it, scored, and ended up keeping the streak going. And I remember that as a kid. So, going into Destrehan, I think, they had John Emery. They had some good players on their team as well. But like I said, man, at that point, we was just very, very confident in ourselves and had no doubt we was going to come out on top.
Definitely. You guys win that game, and you guys are headed to the state championship, and you guys know you are playing West Monroe. But something happened within the week that got into the papers about West Monroe talking about y'all, some talking some smack.
Mm-hmm.
How much did that motivate y'all even more?
I mean, man, I can't calculate how much it motivated us, because I mean, like, we all just wanted to go to Porges. We all wanted to get to the Dome, and it's like, you can't get to the Dome and lose, you know what I mean? So it was like, we was already very highly motivated. We was very confident. What I would say, though, is when we got in the Dome and we got to playing West Monroe, they was better than I thought they were. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They was better than I thought they were. In that first quarter, they front seven was tough. And I think they had a few young linebackers, but they were pretty good, and they were getting after it. But, I mean, like I said, at that point, it was nothing they could really do to stop. I mean, I was huge in high school. I was probably I was 6'4", about 227, 228. Yeah, it wasn't too much they could do for real.
Tell us the feeling once that clock hit 0 and y'all were crowned state champions.
Oh, man, it was great. It was great. I mean, before the clock even hit 0, we was up. I think we was up. We was up like 40. I think it was like 42-20 or whatever it was. And we had been scoring 50 the whole playoffs or whatever, right?
Right.
Mind you, I'm not even in the game no more at this point. I'm on the sideline. I'm messing with the band, constructing the band and stuff. And I just see Devontae Jason catching a touchdown. I'm like, what's going on? And we scored again. Then I don't know what. Somehow they end up going for 2. And I think that was just on the players, though. I think the players just was like, man, we got 48. Why not get 50? And when else you gonna be back playing in the Superdome? So I don't blame them for it, man. It was all fun, and it was a very memorable, very enjoyable moment, man.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Before that game happened, when y'all was coming out the tunnel, Edna Carr had just won their state championship, and they met y'all at y'all tunnel, and it's one of the greatest things that has ever happened in the LHSAA Sugar Bowl Classic, State Championship Classic. Tell us about that moment, just being there with Edna Carr, knowing these guys are your arch rivals, but for one night only, y'all were on the same team. It had the whole city of Algiers united as one.
Right, man. It was a surreal moment, man. I kid you not. They, like you said, they just had won theirs. It was time for us to go out and perform. Their family, and we all from that same area, all from right up the street from each other, Edna Carr and Landry Walker. So we all knew each other's family. Some of us were family. You just go to that school and I go to this school. You know what I mean? So to have that moment in a dome where, we both rooting for each other, like we wanted them to win, they wanted us to win, man. And then to meet in a tunnel like that, it was like, things that had come out the movies, man.
Definitely. You would go on to play at Mississippi State, quarterback there from 2017 to 2019. You made your first career start in the Tax Slayer Bowl in place of Nick Fitzgerald, who got hurt, and you led the team to victory against Louisville. Tell us about that moment, man.
Oh man, and that was a great moment, man. Especially, we was huge underdogs. They had Lamar. It was Lamar Jackson's last collegiate game, so he had already won the Heisman. Going to the league, he's on his way to the league, and it was his last game. And I was a true freshman, like you said, this is my first start. So you can imagine, like, I don't know if there was betting back then, but what FanDuel and stuff looked like, what the spread was. But they had us, losing. But what I did know, we had, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say we had the number 1 defense. They were very highly ranked that year. We had 3 first rounders on the defense that year, and nobody wasn't scoring. Nobody was scoring over 20 to 28 points on us. You know what I mean? So all I knew, I just had to, play my game and just, score 1 time, 2 times a quarter. I'm good. You know what I mean? And the defense definitely held it down. Those guys contain Lamar, man, and he's an exciting player to watch, man. Just to see it in person and in college, it was a great experience. And then come out on top and win that game as my first collegiate start, man, it's something I'll always remember.
Definitely. Next season, you played in 9 games as a backup and started 1. But I want to go to 2019 because VK can tell you this, man. 2019, we just knew it was your time. It was your time. It was supposed to be you starting and leading this team to a lot of victories. But Dan Mullen goes to Florida. Joe Moorhead comes in and brings in his own quarterback from Penn State. And I just wanted to ask you what emotions you went through that entire year, because you worked hard to get that starting position, and then just to know that how the things played out happened, and now you're a great teammate doing what you're supposed to do, but deep inside knowing, I worked hard for this and I should have been given a shot.
Yeah, man. It's difficult, man, to talk about the emotions you go through, and it's a lot that you go through. It's just, you really got to try to just keep yourself composed and keep yourself, on the right track of things. And like you said, Coach Mullen, that was my guy. He recruited me. I love Coach Mullen till this day. He ended up, taking a job to go to Florida. And then another coach comes in and brings his guy with them. You know what I mean? I mean, you kind of, how that goes. I mean, he didn't bring him down there for no reason. So he bring his guy with him. And at the time, I don't know, I just figured I would, I guess, outplay him and get the job. But you know how things go, man.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing was I ended up, graduating. Coach ended up getting fired. next year or whatever, and then Coach Leach comes in. I think Coach Leach was looking to bring a guy in from Stanford as well. And at that point, man, I had graduated. I'm like, man, let me get out of here and, go pick my school again. You know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely I understand, man. I really felt bad for you, man. I just felt that just you got a raw deal when he came in, man, and but you made the move to
Mm-hmm.
Virginia, and you made a change to wide receiver. And this is my last question before I give it to VK. Talk about that change going to Virginia and deciding to be a wide receiver.
Yeah, man. So, when I first, went to UV, I got recruited as a quarterback. I was going up there to play quarterback and ended up tearing my shoulder in fall camp. I want to say this is 2020, COVID.
Okay.
And we didn't know about how the eligibility and stuff was going to go or anything like that. And at the time, I could have got surgery. I set out, but I think it was supposed to be like my last year or whatnot. And I could have got surgery, waited, but Miami in a quarterback competition. I get surgery, wait out that year, probably be in a competition again next year or transferring again. I didn't want to transfer again, do all that. So, man, it was a tough decision, obviously, like having played quarterback my whole life. And it was just at the point that my shoulder was shot and I really couldn't throw at the moment without getting surgery. And the surgery wasn't guaranteed to even fix it. So it was almost like I just go do rehab, be a good teammate, leave the game how I came in, and that sort of thing. Like I had no intentions. Well, I ain't gonna say intentions, but like no expectations of playing or having a shot at the NFL or anything like that. Once I changed positions, it was more of me just being a good teammate and doing whatever I can to help the team win.
VK.
Keytaon, man, what is going on with you, bro? It's good to see you, man. I'm very happy that you joined the show tonight. And first of all, I want to tell you how proud I am of you that you're winning totally in life and you had to overcome a lot of obstacles and a lot of adversity to be where you are right now. So I wanted to tell you that at first because, like I said, you're one of the best athletes I probably ever covered. So, man, I want to tell you I'm very proud of
I
what you're doing
appreciate
right
that, man. Much love.
now. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, first of all, like I said, you had Landry Walker for you. You was part of that first the merger of the two
Yep.
Algier schools. Now, at the time, two sport
Mm-hmm.
athlete. You got you had a bit of winning earlier, not just with football, but on the
Yeah.
basketball court. Back-to-back state championships under head coach Brian
Yes, sir.
Gibson. What are your thoughts at the time when you guys, especially year one, with Tyreek, with Tyreek, also
Lamar.
with Lamar Peters, and also with Joey Puff Wells, that you cats came together and won it all against East
Oh
Jeff?
man, we had a really talented group, man. Like you say, those guys, Tyree, you got Tyree Lamar. It was all of us. I feel like that whole team could play, man, across the board, even the guys who didn't start or whatnot. But we had a great coach, and I guess just those schools combined, it, man, it just gave us everything we needed, as far as the coaching staff and the talent, and we just put it together, and was able to go out there and win a championship. And it was I wouldn't say it was easy, but man, it was no doubt that we always thought we was going to win it that year. And I all teams say that, but like we really did think like who can beat us type. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Y'all really had a real good season. Seemed like y'all were really motivated as well, especially getting a victory late in the season against EJ. And a couple of people, critics, kind of doubted you going into the playoffs, but y'all used that in motivation and y'all went ahead, rough shot. And I really, that night of that game against East Jeff, I thought that game was going to be close. I really thought you guys had the chance to take it. And it was just unbelievable. I was more shocked than anything how y'all really just outplayed those guys. And that game was almost basically over
Yeah,
at
man,
halftime.
I remember that game too. I remember it was almost like an AAU type feel because it was real fast paced. I remember just getting the rebound and pushing the break and passing it to whoever, Lamar, Puff, Tyree, everybody was hitting that night, and it was just, man, it was a landslide. It was just some of those, everything was just clicking. It just felt like everything was just clicking that night.
And I always say about that particular Landry Walker team is probably one of the best basketball resumes maybe ever in the history of the LHSAA because of the fact when you look at the opponents that you've beaten, and I tell anybody, and I'm gonna tell you this, JB, you go back and look at their record. Landry Walker beat 6 state champions that year and beaten and the other couple other teams was in the top 28 that week and they beaten them.
One of the
So
greatest
that's
teams
how
ever.
good this Landry Walker. Yes, that's how good that Landry Walker team was. Because I tell anybody, go back and look at their schedule and who they beat and the people who played in that top 28 that season.
Yeah.
6 state title, 6 state champions they beat. And I'm like, it's amazing what they did. But you had to overcome some things yourself that season. You went against 2 big men from East Jeff, and you just outplayed them guys and had like a double that night. I mean,
Yeah,
man, can you talk about how you had to? Because it wasn't the first time you went against those 2 big guys from East Jeff.
Man. They was tall, man. I remember, and they could play. And I think one of them, Blake ended up coming to us the next year. So, man, Blake was like 6'10", the other light-skinned guy. He was like around the same height. And then they had the guy with the dread, Shaq. And they all was, pretty long and athletic. And, man, but before, like, coming to middle school, I played AAU a long time and was, like, highly ranked. Was playing against guys like Cody Riley and real tall guys on the AAU circuit. So that never was really an issue for me. And I was, I could jump. And I was usually quicker than them. So, like, I could get rebounds, box out, and I was always a good defender. So, it wasn't too big of a deal.
Talk about the time you went against one of the players that made it to the NBA, is having a real nice career, and that's Mitchell Robinson. Talk about that matchup.
That was a great matchup, man. And Mitchell was enrolled at Landry Walker for some time, too, and ended up trying. I wish we could have got to play together, man. And that would have been a really good team. But I think we ended up winning the championship that year. But we ended up playing them. And I remember a specific moment from the game. So I was guarding Mitchell the whole game while I was in first half. And I'm doing a pretty good job, doing what I can, and he's so tall. It's almost like you got to front him. You can't really let him catch it, especially in the post. You let him catch in the post, you bound to get dunked on. So I remember just fighting and tussling with him, picking him up full court in his chest. And mind you, I'm 6'4" myself. I'm not a small dude, but I'm like in his stomach, like in his chest, just holding him. And I remember like right before halftime, coaches always say, if you're tired, you need a blow tap on your head, right?
Right.
So Mitch like, damn, they're 7 foot, 250 at this point. He's slim, but he's heavy though. And I'm leaning on all that weight this whole time. So I asked for a blow. And Coach Gibb looked at me, he said, hey, you a D1 athlete? Ain't you a D1 athlete? You better suck it up. I looked at him, I was just like, I guess, bro. But y'all say we tired, but I'm like, and I shucked it up for the, last 2 minutes or whatever it was. But man, it was a tough guard. I don't remember what he ended up finishing with, but I know we ended up winning the game. And I was, really my main objective that game was just to, stop him from getting 30 or 40.
I remember that game vividly at Chalmette, and on top of that, Lamar Peters was like you had to get the fire marshal to really slow him down that night. Oh my God! But regardless of the fact, you went back to back, and what was special about that one was the fact you made the game winner, the putback to beat Salmon in a very low scoring game to win the state championship. What was your thoughts? I know everything came so fast for you, especially on that last play of the game. It was a desperation shot. It could have went to overtime, but you were right there to tap it in to win.
Man, it was it was a knockdown, drag out fight. That one, the total opposite of the first championship we won. You know what I mean? Everybody hitting, everything clicking, and we went to play Salmon, and we couldn't get a bucket. Like nobody could hit. and credit to them, they was playing some great defense. They was like some type of extended zone, if I remember, whatever they was doing. But man, we was playing good defense on them. They was playing good defense on us, and they couldn't score, and we couldn't score. And it was just one of those games, like it's the championship. You just got to give it all you got, like for real.
Mhm.
It was an ugly game, on both sides, and just like I say, giving it all you got, just following the shot, being in the right position at the right time, and just having the skill set to be able to flick the ball back up and make the game winner, man. Because I didn't want to go into overtime. I ain't, it was one of those games where it's like, let's get this win and get up out of here. And when it first went through, I remember I first making it, I didn't know if it counted or not, because it was like, I know the time had run out, but I'm just looking around and I'm like, once I saw everybody jump up, I'm like, we just won. I'm like, all right, it's over. Like, with that game, man, that was a tough game. I remember that was a pretty decent team they had.
Yeah, that was a really interesting game. The officials had to gather to see if it counted and everything. This was before the replay reviews. It was a crazy, crazy night, and two legendary coaches going against one another that night of that game, and also two good friends at that. So what a ball game, and you hate to see it in like that, but for you, I know it was a big night, back-to-back championships for the school. You as a football player, you had to transition from a 2 quarterback system to being the man. LaShawn Codier meant so much to you. Tell us about how he really mentored you in that relationship to prepare you to become the
Oh
star.
man, just how he handled his business, what he did on a day to day, and he really taught me a lot, man. I remember a summer 7-on-7. I was just watching him go through his reads, his footwork. Like I say, man, I can't even really explain how much he taught me. Coach John Johnson, he's a great coach. He taught him a lot. He was with him for all that time, and he was LaJohn was kind of a finished product of what Coach John is capable of, and being able to see it up close, and being able to learn from him for those 2 years, I really think propelled my career and made me everything I am today.
I'll tell you, when you took off and anything, your senior year was something else. Your junior year going into the senior year, being the man. I tell you, the two games that really, really stood out. One was the Giants when you playing with one leg.
Oh yeah.
And you wound up throwing the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
They rotated the quarterbacks in.
Right. I didn't even start that game, actually.
No, you didn't. You sure did in that game. Because I think they rotated in between yourself and I think it was one of the receivers.
Yeah, it was one of the receivers.
Yeah, it came in and I mean, you came in at a time and the coach asked you, and it seemed like you wanted the ball that particular drive, and you got it, and you helped Landry Walker win that game.
Yeah, I remember the first drive I went in. I think I asked to go. I think we had ended up getting we had 2 drives, didn't score, and then I think we got a turnover. And I was like, Coach, man, put me in right quick. And I told him Devontae Jason, the guy who went to Mississippi State with me, I was telling him listen, I need you. He's like, I got you. And we get in, we was able to get a touchdown and get the ball rolling. But like you said, I think I had a hairline fracture in my ankle or something, the worst of the worst ankle sprains. And they had Michael Divinity over there at school. They had a pretty good defense, man. But like I say, I do remember that play vividly. I remember in the huddle, Tevin Bush, man. Listen to this. So we in the huddle. We all talk Coach John, what y'all think we should run? What you think we should run? He asked me, right? Tevin said, man, we should do scramble drill. And I'm looking at him like, bro, that's not a play. You can't call scramble drill. You know what I mean? But lo and behold, it ended up being like a scramble drill, and that's how we ended up scoring, which is a funny story about that game.
Wow, man. Khalil Williams was at the time that quarterback rotator. Yeah, it was, and Khalil, very good athlete in himself. The other game that stood out to me was the Edna Carr game.
Yeah.
Y'all were down big. You came all the way back to win the ball game. You got the game-winning touchdown. You got the touchdown and the game-winning 2 points where you're looking like Superman and dove right in the end zone to get that 2 points. I mean, that was a great ball game. I'll tell you one thing: the Edna Carr and the Landry Walker games were
Yes.
some unbelievable games.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always, man, a show to be out there. And I remember that game specifically, too. But I think going into halftime, we was down maybe 3 scores. And, man, it was just like, I remember specific, like, it was like fans or whatever. You don't know who said, everybody from LG at that point. People, saying Coach Powell can't coach and saying this and saying that and going into halftime. And it was like, yo. And we was losing bad. And it was like, it wasn't nothing that, that they had done crazy, though. It was just like more of our own mistakes. And so when we came out of halftime, man, we just tried to put our foot on the gas and turn it up. And that's what.
Oh man.
Uh-oh.
We lost him for a second.
Yes.
Keytaon, you can hear me. Log out, log back in right quick, man, because you frozen and we cannot hear anything you're saying. So hopefully we get him back. I'll text him, man. The story was great. The story was great.
Yeah.
Man, the story was great.
Yeah.
So let's see if he log back in. And yes, sir. There he is. All right. Hold on one second, VK. All right.
Sure.
All right.
You good, buddy.
So,
Go ahead,
we lost connection. What's the last thing y'all heard, man?
You was saying about the particular game, about the particular play for the Landry Walker call.
Yeah, with the halftime, they were down by 3.
Oh, yeah. We
3
got
scores.
3 scores going into halftime. And like I said, it's people saying all type of stuff from the crowd, chirping, and it was just like, I remember in halftime, like, man, we're gonna come back out and get back, like at least get the game back in striking distance. And then once we did, man, it was just all, making it happen. And I remember the 2-point conversion play, it was like a speed option. And it was coming down. I didn't know if, like, the WAP came down, made a great block. He cracked the dude. And as I was going in, I'm like, I could make it. If I jump, like, I could make it. That's all I thought. And so I just took off and, try to get in the end zone. And it was successful.
Wow. I mean, and that was a huge comeback right there. And Michael Lee kind of put things away more than anything else. I mean, that was some great ball games against those guys and everything. And then all of a sudden, you go on to senior year, you had it on your minds to get it going, and you went on a big run. The Destrehan ball game. Now, this was a quote, and I could not believe the words that this man said, and especially the performance you had. And if people are listening, get this. Remember, Landry Walker was down 14-0, and Landry Walker scores 50 unanswered to win that game. Now, there is a guy that said this. I've watched high school football for a long, long time. And this is probably one of the best performances I've ever seen. And this guy is one of the best high school football players I've ever seen. You know who said that?
Robichaux.
Oh, wow. No, I did not know that.
Ken Trahan.
Oh, okay. Ken Trahan.
Ken Trahan. And he said that about you. And I was like, wow.
That's crazy.
And he sees some great ones. He said Keytaon Thompson's the best high school football player I've ever seen because of the fact of the performance you had. And he said he watched you over the years, but he said for that team to bounce back the way they did and for him to get that team on his back, he was like, I can't say nothing no more. But what was your thoughts of hearing that from one of the legendary sports writers in prep sports for a long, long time? People that
do man, it's a blessing, man. I'm honored. Obviously, he's Ken Trahan. He's been around a long time. Like you said, he's seen a lot of talent, and yeah, man, that's you know, it's funny, man. It's like I don't even know what to say about it because it's just something crazy to think about. That's someone thinks so highly of me in that aspect. But yeah, man, I feel like my senior year, I worked really hard. Going into my senior year, I would say I was 10 times better than I was that junior year. We was talking about when I had that game against Carr. I feel like in all of that loss we had against Mandeville in the playoffs, we was banged up. But I feel like, we lost to an inferior opponent, and that hurted me. That hurt more than anything else. Like, and so going into that off season, I was kind of a totally different person and just really wanted to be dominant. I was eating different, working out different, and it all ended up paying off. Obviously, I ended up, winning a championship, which is what I really mainly wanted to do. Coach John told me, he said, if you can't lead these guys to a championship, then what make you think you go to the SEC and lead those guys to a championship? And so that was another thing that stuck in my head. And so, I just really, really wanted to win a championship. And along with that, came all the accolades, Gatorade Player of the Year, and all of those other things.
That night, I was at the Carr and 35 ball game, and the game was at Berman. And when they announced the score, when they announced the score earlier, the Carr people was a little not happy too much. It's like, oh man. But when they heard the scores later, their mouth dropped. And my mouth dropped too. I'm like, oh my God. We could have an Algiers championship weekend. I was like, this is unbelievable. So I was very excited when it happened and everything else. How was the experience for that week itself? Especially, I'm there in the dome the day before, and maybe one of the first times ever that two teams comes together and do a team picture together. You guys and Carr done a team picture together, and a lot of camaraderie that came from there. What are your thoughts about that experience that week? But also, what was said from the Carr players to y'all going into the week?
Oh man, as far as like talking to them going into the game, I don't think necessarily talk too much to Carr. Well, not me specifically. I know I was more talking to my own guys on my team. But once we got into the tunnel, it was all love, and like you say, we know all of those guys. They know us, and it was like real brotherly love in that tunnel. But as far as like we took the picture and it was cool, but it was like y'all have business to handle, and we have our business to handle, and it was kind of that.
Okay, cool. But at the same time, it was a great moment in itself that two Algiers teams meeting in the dome, and that was that was a great moment in itself, and there was a lot of motivation on both sides that both teams Algiers wanted to really send a message to that city of Monroe that this is good football outside of what they have, and that was really huge for y'all. You transition Mississippi State. You and you yourself, Devontae Jason came along for the ride. And everything. I know it was an interesting experience. And then you transition to Virginia. You wound up getting a degree. You wound up having some success and everything. What is Keytaon Thompson doing now?
Right now, man. Right now. So right now, I'm running a company up here. A window. We do home exterior. I do running a home exterior company, replacing anything to the outside of a home, and also over the past year or so, after leaving the CFL, past year or so, I've been really heavy in the stock market and been learning that, man, and that's been great for me. And so yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing now, and just helping, trying to give back in any way I can to the kids and anyone trying to pursue what I was pursuing, because in the athletic space, just because I know how hard it can be mentally, physically, all of the downfalls, and just because I've been through it, and I've had 5 different head coaches and you know what I mean. So I've been through a lot of different programs and how they're ran, and so I just really try to just help the younger guys out.
Sound like is coaching maybe in the future?
Yeah, man, I've thought about it. I've thought about it. Maybe one day, Yeah, not at the moment though.
Okay.
I completely understand. Completely understand. Um, Looking at the change in the college game now
hmm
and everything, NIL and the transfer
Yeah,
portal. You were kind of a part of the beginning of what was
yeah,
coming. What do you think about what has been happening now with the transfer portal? And because I tell people all the
hmm
time, some people are against the transfer
hmm
portal, but I always talk about your
right,
situation and some other situations, and it's like you have to understand when you're underutilized and everything else, you should have a right to
right.
leave. And you had a right to leave, and now we have this. But I think the transfer portal maybe a little out of control. What are your thoughts on what the transfer portal and NIL is
Yeah,
right now?
man. Like you, I mean, you said it. Like I agree with it. I want the players, being a former player, I want the players to have as much freedom and get as paid as much as they possibly can. And so, am I against guys getting paid and hitting the transfer portal and trying to get more money? Not at all. I mean, is it kind of getting out of hand? I mean, kind of, sort of. But at the same time, it's like it's guys like me who couldn't transfer at a certain time until I graduated, and years before that, guys that didn't get paid and didn't get the chance to reap those benefits of having those freedoms. So I'm all for it, man. I do see the downfalls of it, but I mean I feel like that's with everything. You're gonna have ups and downs.
Yep.
Yes, sir. It seemed like you take your education very, very seriously. That is huge for you. You had a 4.0 average at Landry Walker, and you took that with you at Mississippi State. All the stuff you overcame. You have a bachelor's degree. You was working on your master's as well. So, I mean, it seemed like education really runs through your family, and you felt like more than anything else that regardless of what's going on, I still want to get my education.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was pretty important to me. Uh, I ended up getting my master's from UVA in 2 years, and like the last year, I just was taking classes because I had an extra year as ability, but I wasn't going to get another degree, so I was just taking classes my last year. But yeah, completing college was always important to me specifically. I mean, like no one in my immediate family had went to college yet and graduated college, as far as my mom, my dad, and my older brother. And so, to be the first to do it from our family, I think, it was just important for me. But yeah, that's pretty much.
Wow. Got to ask you this last question. I'm gonna let JB take over from here. Um, you like we mentioned, you were part of a merger that worked for a good while, but unfortunately, it
Yeah.
ended. It ended a couple years ago, and some new loopholes had came in and everything else. That Landry Walker ended, and it went back to LB Landry. It was a lot of shakeup, a lot of turmoil and turbulence between the schools, but now things have really, really blown over. Things have really cooled down, and it seems like things, I think things are starting to be things. Basically, Algiers, the community is being a family again more than anything else because you have these alumni
hmm
events with Perry Walker and LB Landry. What you can say about the beginning and the ending of Landry Walker, and do you wish that Landry Walker would continue in existence?
Yeah, man. Of course, I wish it would have, continued to exist, and so, and but that's kind of how it was when the merger first became an idea. I remember in the 8th grade, I was planning on going to Perry Walker, and I remember when the first like mentions of the merger happened, and it was all like kind of little conflicts, little petty stuff here and there, what colors, just all kind of stuff. And I think once we came together, they saw that it was good, and everybody was good with it and cool with it, and it was a great thing, as far as I know, as far as when I was there, and in years after I left, I felt like Landry Walker was in a great spot. And then I don't really know about the ending and what happened there, though.
Yeah, I really love the beginning of it. You know what I'm saying? Because the fact of the colors all merging
Right, right.
together. Because you have Landry colors, you
Walker.
have Oprah Walker colors, and then your colors coming
Mm-hmm.
together. When somebody asked me what the name they gonna come with, and I said they might could call it the Charging Buccaneers, which I wound up being right because it makes
That's
perfect
funny.
sense. You have the
Yeah.
Chargers and you have the
Buccaneers, yeah.
Buccaneers. So it's like Charging
Buccaneers. Just,
Buccaneers. So it made a lot of
mm-hmm.
sense. The I love the emblem that they came up with. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all football uniforms, y'all was like the
Yeah, we
Oregon
had
of high
we
school
had
football. All the time. I think and the cost starting to catch up, but y'all guys set the tone because Coach John Johnson and Emmanuel Powell, the times I went to the locker room and the times they told me that, oh, we got this combination, that
oh
combination.
yeah.
I'm like, what in the world? It's like something new
Yeah,
every
you
week.
know.
And then yeah, and then the band
Oh my
too. I
God.
mean, the most amazing
Man,
thing,
I miss that
Jared,
band. They
the Landry Walker band had almost 200 members in
Oh, that's
year
phenomenal.
one.
and they used to blow. Yeah,
Whoo! I
man.
said, man, if this what happens when you merge schools, oh Lord, I was like, this is the most unbelievable thing. I did a Bell Chase game against Landry Walker in year one, and I see eight
Mm,
buses.
yeah,
8.
yeah,
I'm like, this is
yeah.
serious, man. These cats
Rawlins
ain't
wasn't
nothing
playing no
nice.
games, man. Yeah,
Oh man. I mean, I tell you, I really thought it was a great. It was too bad that it ended, but I'm glad that things kind of blew over after everything that happened and stuff
mm-hmm.
like that. I really felt bad for when it ended because the fact that you're destroying
Yeah,
a legacy that these kids
right,
built, and now what they're gonna tell their
right,
children.
right. I think we won. I don't know how long. I don't know how long it lasted. It was like 7, 8 years. I think we
I
won 4.
8 years, and then on
We had
top of
4
that,
championships.
the first year, yeah, and then the first year of the school, get this, JB, they had over $10 million of scholarships
That's
combined,
phenomenal.
and we're not talking about we're talking about
Everything. Yeah.
everything. $10 million of
Yeah, that's wonderful.
scholarships in year
Yeah,
Wonderful.
one.
yeah,
Definitely.
Wow. So, but I truly miss what the movement
mm,
was, and it's great that that all the communities still celebrated. But I think one of these days, I hope y'all have since y'all still kind of young, y'all have kind of a committee of a Landry Walker committee. Y'all can do some alumni
oh
picnics
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yourselves
We
too,
just had
man.
one
You know,
this past week, this past weekend with everybody else with the Oprah. They had it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We had
yeah.
I
Oh
know.
yeah, I
Yeah,
seen
okay.
that. I
Good.
mean, OPW did little something. Landry not too long did something
yeah.
not
So
too
Landry
long ago.
Walker, yeah,
But I
we had it this past weekend actually. Mm.
yeah. So I hope there's one with Landry Walker, the merger schools. I
Mm.
hope that happens because y'all if y'all been open 8 years, meaning y'all have at least 8 graduation
Right, right,
classes. So
exactly.
you got a nice bit of alumni.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely. Keytaon Thompson, man, we want to thank you for joining us, man. We truly appreciate it. This was fun, my man.
And I appreciate y'all, man. I thank y'all a lot for having me, man. And it's just been good to think about the old times and reminisce a little bit, man.
Definitely, man. Definitely, man.
proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're
Definitely,
doing,
man.
man.
Wish
Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
you too, man. Wish you the best.
Same.
All right. Keytaon Thompson, true legend in the state of Louisiana. Okay, that